Welcome back, everyone. I am Nessa.
And I'm T.
And together we are the Casual Fangirls. Coming to you guys. Praise the old gods and the new. Gods be good. Please be good to us. We are back to discuss the second episode of the House of Dragon entitled The Rogue Prince. Now, just so y'all know, this episode takes place 6 months after the premiere episode, so we are definitely getting some time jumps here, and we are here for it. So before we get into the nitty gritty of the episode and everything, I'm going to have my lovely co-host T take over.
Thanks, Nessa. So as Nessa said, we are about to jump into the episode, which is a lot further along in the story. But before we get there, just wanted to touch base. How you doing, Nessa?
I'm good.
We never just stop. Like, how are you doing? How are you?
Because we're always like, let's do this under an hour. And 2 hours
never
later. Never but I am good, doing the thing. How are you doing? What are you up to?
I, as you can see, kind of different background, kind of tropical, I would say. I'm on vacation in the U.S. Virgin Islands. But definitely had to take a break to make sure that we chatted House of the Dragon because can't take a vacation from that. So I'm coming to you live from St. Thomas, sitting on the floor of my Airbnb, just trying to knock it out.
Love it.
Okay, so speaking of the episode, how would you describe the episode in a non-spoiler way for anyone listening at home who have not seen it yet?
So definitely this is the episode of Second Sons. And
I like it.
And I mean that literally, but also metaphorically throughout the realm. If you guys have not seen the episode yet, what happens is we get a lot of power plays coming from the Second Sons in some of the major families. But also our friend Corlys Velaryon is out here making moves, and he considers himself the second son, metaphorically in terms of the realm and stuff, because he had to build his house off his back. So that's how I would just describe it all in all. What would you say to describe this episode?
I just thought it was a really intriguing episode. Wasn't a whole lot of action. There was some build up to some action happening in the episode. Wasn't a lot of action. A lot of moving the pieces into different places, giving you the background you need in order to understand some of the decisions that were made, especially by the end of the episode. And it feels like the preparation episode to whatever the next episode that's coming, which we'll talk about later, but sounds like a lot of we're going to jump ahead another year or two in the timeline.
Oh, yeah.
And with this episode, they were giving us all of the groundwork we needed to understand where we're going to be at 2 years from now. So I thought it was really intriguing, really interesting to see all the current players interact with each other. I dug it.
Definitely some tense moments in there.
Yeah. Sure. Let's get into the episode.
All right. So without further ado, we are here to get into the episode, The Rogue Prince, episode 2, season 1. All right. So, boom. To set off the episode, we got opening credits, y'all. If y'all remember, in the first episode, we don't get any opening credits, but we get it this time. And basically what we're seeing is blood pouring, splashing through the model of old Valeria that our good guy Viserys was working on. How did you feel about this? These opening credits?
So first of all, we got our traditional Game of Thrones theme music, which I didn't. Yeah, we forgot to mention. Spoiler. We're going to talk about the episode now.
Yeah.
So spoiler, whatever.
We did say we're getting into credits.
The episode. Yeah, we did. We did say that, but to be more explicit for others.
Yes.
Yeah, we got the Game of Thrones theme song, which I was not expecting them to do. I expected to have a new theme song because it's a new story, kind of. But to your point specifically, I was transfixed. I was so focused on where the blood was going. I was so focused on trying to identify that every time the blood hit a little sigil or something, it would pop out of the ground. And I was like, am I supposed to know these sigils for these houses? And it wasn't until the end of the credit scene that I realized it wasn't Westeros. And then in the episode, I understood that it was actually Old Valyria that they were showing us, which was super, super cool. I loved it. How'd you feel about it?
At first, I was like, is this supposed to be like the Red Keep? I was like, where are we? What's happening? And it took a while to click that it is Old Valyria. I did like it. I'm hoping that over the episodes that it will expand out of Old Valyria, because I'm not gonna lie, like having the map during Game of Thrones made things a lot simpler for me, and it made me understood where everybody actually geographically was. Because although we've watched Game of Thrones for 8 seasons, I don't really remember where the free cities stay. So I know they're in Essos, but I'm just like, how far exactly are we talking, right? And yes, I could Google it, whatever. But it was helpful to see it every week before the actual episode starts. And if you're a casual fan, you're not really trying to sit up there and, be searching the whole map every single time. So I'm kind of hoping that the credits will evolve, but I liked it. I was into it. I'm waiting for all the other people to pick it apart so I know exactly what's in it. But yeah.
I agree. And I think prediction time, I do think that we're going to see at some point someone's going to say, hey, Viserys, like, can we focus on Westeros or whoever the next king is? And like, maybe we'll see them carving out Westeros, which is what we'll see in the
Game of Thrones.
The Game of Thrones credits. Yeah. So let's keep it pushing.
All right. Okay, so let's actually talk about the episode, right? We only made it to opening credits. So the episode opens up with a look at the damage that the crab feeder is bringing to his victims. Lord Corlys warned us about this in the previous episode, so of course he's pissed when he walks into the small council and they're discussing replacing a member of the Kingsguard, especially when one of the ships that went down was actually flying his banner. So now we're gonna remind you that Lord Corlys is married to Rhaenys, and who is, Viserys' cousin, who was passed up for the throne for Viserys. He's the richest man in Westeros, and his fleet is a major, major asset to the king. So to be walking in and y'all not speaking business about what I got going on is just like, I don't know what we talking about if we're not talking business over here. How did did that have any impact? Like, I mean, because he strolled up in there, so did that have any impact on how you saw the council?
I just appreciate how he's just not afraid to say what's on his mind. There are obviously other people on the council who's more timid about giving their opinion, but he's just like, what did I tell y'all? And now it's bothering me. Can we do something about this? Yeah.
All right, off to you.
I like it. Yeah. So then what happens after that? The king, Viserys, states that he isn't prepared to start a war with the free cities, right? As a king, it's his job to protect his people. Why would he purposely go off into war if he can avoid it, right? In this scene, though, we learned that since the last episode, Daemon has essentially taken over Dragonstone for the last 6 months. He's like, this is mine.
Squatting,
right? Exactly, squatting essentially at Dragonstone, which is the like symbolic seat of the heir of the throne. Corlys is quick to point that out, that Viserys has done nothing about that neither, and it's essentially Corlys is building the case that Viserys is looking like a pretty weak king.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then like the way he talks to the king, it seems like he doesn't fear him. Like, he talks to him like he's an equal. And Otto is like, I'm not feeling this. Like, this is your king. Show some respect. Put some respect on his name. I don't know why we're talking like this. And you can already see the tension between Otto and Corlys going on.
I mean, to be fair, though, it seems like Otto has tension with almost everybody on the council. So we'll see.
Otto don't like nobody.
We'll see. I mean, yeah, I know. We'll see how that plays out at some point. But Viserys is like, all right, I hear you. Like, okay, so what are we gonna do? Like, let's try to make peace. Let's reach out to Pentos and Volantis, and like, let's just have some ships ready just in case we need to go. But I'm not trying to set out and just like start a war if we don't need to. Let's try like diplomatic relations first. So when he's saying that to the council, everyone's kind of like, if you look at their faces, they're kind of mixed reactions. Rhaenyra comes out of nowhere, and she's just like, "Why are we talking? We have dragons. What? I don't understand. Why are we not using them, honey?" There were definitely some mixed reactions. Actually, similar reactions across the table to that. So, remember, it's been 6 months since Rhaenyra was crowned heir to the throne, and in this scene, we see she's still just pouring the king's wine.
She's still bartender.
She's still bartender for the entire council. For the entire council. And then in the scene, we see that she doesn't even get to a seat at the table, let alone to just like speak her mind. Like, they obviously have her in here. They don't mind her listening to the conversations. But if she can't say anything, how is she supposed to learn how to be a ruler? Is what I took from that scene. What did you think?
Right. That's definitely how I felt too, because I was just like, clearly she's in the same space that she's always been. So what is the difference? What is new? But obviously she's feeling bold and ready to like jump into action at any point in time. And it gave me big like Olenna vibes too. When Olenna was talking to Dany and she was like, "You're a dragon. Act like a dragon." And I was just like, yes, y'all just went through this whole thing of what makes us different from everybody else. We have dragons. Now, when it comes to Daemon, he got dragons.
He also has dragons.
But if we're talking about the crab feeder and the free cities and everything like that, come on now. Like, we could end this real quick. You know what I'm saying? Let's show some strength here. That's basically what Rhaenyra is saying. Show some strength. Show some backbones. Stand up.
And I agree. And I also like that even though we see that Rhaenyra has been placed in this like subservient, almost subordinate position, even though she's heir to the throne, she's still using her brain. Like, you see that she has a knack for at least thinking about the politics and really trying to understand what's happening because she's chiming up. I'm with it. So.
Yep. And so after Rhaenyra pipes up, Otto's like, "All right, that's enough out of you, pal. We gotta get you out of here. Like, you gotta go." So he suggests to the king that, we need to find something a bit more, quote unquote, suitable for her, right? So the king sends her with Sir Harold and Otto to choose the next member of the King's Guard. So Princess Rhaenyra, Sir Harold, and Otto, they're going through all their options. These guys have come to court. Apparently they went through some previous trials, and now we're down to like our final selection. And so she's going through all of them, and she's like, "Hey, okay, what's your background? Where you from? What you do?" And you can see like Otto's coaching her in the background too, because like she doesn't quite know what to say or how to behave. Which, I mean, you want to say, "Oh, that's nice," but we know Otto, so I'm not banking too much on it. And so she turns to Otto and Sir Harold and is like, "Wait a minute, has anybody actually been battle tested here?" And so they call forward Sir Criston Cole. Now, if I remember in the previous episode, she had a little crushy crush on Sir Criston Cole, right? He's supposed to be the little hottie at court. So she ends up choosing him because he's the only one who's actually seen combat, right? And you can see the gears are turning. Right. She's trying to plan ahead. She's choosing the person who's right for the job. She might have a little crushy crush, but he's still the most qualified for the job. Yeah. Whereas Otto and Sir Harold are like, "But wait, this family has higher standing than he does, and this family, we've had allegiances going back. Like, why wouldn't you pick somebody from this house and that?" And she's like, "No. I need somebody to protect my daddy and eventually protect me." So you can see she's thinking like a queen. She's thinking with strategy, and I love that. And then there goes Rhaenys in the corner in the shadows, like watching from a balcony, and I'm just like, Okay, she's lurking. She's lurking.
She's lurking, she's watching, and you know she's forming an opinion about it, which we do get later on in the episode. But to your point about Rhaenyra, you know, talking about battle tested versus like she's basically doing the thing that I feel like the council has forgotten how to do, which is the council and the king and everybody in Westeros right now is like politics. Who do we have to be nice to? Who do we have to be friendly to in order to get what we want? Just forgetting about like the practicality of some of these things. Like you have a dragon, there are people out here trying to rule the seas. If that happens, we no longer have X, Y, and Z. Let's go practically stop that instead of trying to play nice with Pentos and Volantis, like trying to play politics. Like I feel like Rhaenyra is trying to like swing the needle back to being like, yeah, all this talk behind closed doors, you know, getting stuff done in a room, you know, with 2 or 3 people is fine. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to brass tacks, can somebody actually save my father? Can we just actually go and stop other people, other ships from being taken? The answer to this is yes, and they're just not doing it. So I appreciate Rhaenyra coming in and being like, are y'all crazy? Like, we could just go and be about that life. What are we doing?
Right. Because we know because of Aegon's prophecy that Viserys is being extremely passive. He's trying to take the peaceful route for everything because he does not want to cause any rift in the realm. But Rhaenyra is like, yeah, you can keep that peaceful stuff to yourself. We gotta be ready when stuff goes down. So I love that about her. I love that for her. And I want to see how far it's going to take her. So next we get a scene between Alicent and Viserys where we can see their friendship is growing, whatever you want to call it, right? Alicent brings great comfort to the king, and you can see that he's starting to trust her. They are opening up to each other. They're sharing feelings. He's like, look at my little Lego model. You like it? Is it cute? Is it cool? You know what I'm saying? She's like, yeah, it's cool. But you can see that she's still very uncomfortable or like not really at ease with some of this because she's still picking at her nails and everything like
fingers,
that. Yeah. And then this scene is followed by a conversation between Alicent and Rhaenyra in which she encourages her to mend things with her father. And so it's almost like she's playing both sides. But now, mind you, y'all, Rhaenyra don't know that her best friend been visiting her daddy's chambers for the last 6 months.
6 months.
Having late night convos over his little model and stuff.
His Lego set, yep.
His little Lego set. So, you know that's going to build up to something. How did you feel about like Alicent kind of playing both sides and keeping secrets from her bestie?
She's in a tough position, right? Because not only she's keeping secrets from her bestie, but the king himself was just like, don't tell her. How are you supposed to handle that? You know, like he was like, don't tell her. She wouldn't understand. I don't know how to talk to my 15-year-old daughter, but it's like, you're able to talk to her 15-year-old best friend? I don't understand that. Like, what is happening? So, I mean, yeah, she's, go ahead.
Now, I was just to mention really quick that apparently in the books, Alicent is older than Rhaenyra. So this is a show change that they made to make them the same age, which makes it even worse that, Dad, you're not supposed to.
It does make it a little worse, especially because we're about to get to this in a minute. Talking about the ages of women in the story, Lady Corliss's daughter, Lady Lena, she's 12. She's 12. And Viserys has a problem with that. But Alicent is 3 years older and there's no problem.
She already has blood moon.
I guess, but like
that's
also, but
it's that minute.
Anyways, yeah. I mean, I
Go ahead.
it. I also just think that, you know, like when it comes to her, like I said, when it comes to her, she's just in a hard place. When it comes to him, honestly, that decision makes. We'll get there. Okay, I'll reserve my comments for when we get to the end of this.
Yeah.
It's the end of the episode. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Next up.
Yeah. So, yeah, so after that, we see that Viserys actually meets with Lord Corlys and Rhaenys, and the Valerians are like, listen, the crown looks weak right now because you've been without a wife for 6 months. There's all these other things going on. Your brother's going rogue. We've been thinking, we think we know how to show up the kingdom. You need to get married, and we think you should marry our 12-year-old daughter, Lena. And they lay out the facts. You need to get married. We have a really strong name. Not only do we have a strong name, it's a strong Valyrian name, like from Valyria. And our daughter has Targaryen in her. So, like, there isn't a match that's more perfect than you marrying our daughter to make it seem like the family is, like, strong and they know what they're doing.
Right.
So they basically, like, they pitched that to Viserys, and he, to his credit, he actually does consider it.
He does. And he takes it in. And again, like, the Valerians out here giving it straight to Viserys. They're like, you look weak, bro. You look weak. Figure it out. Get it together. And do it with our 12-year-old daughter. Like, it was such a wild thing. But Corlys has a point. Like, and just like you laid out everything, she really would be the best match to show the realm that the best days are ahead of them and not behind them. And Lord Corlys says this wonderful quote that I love. And he said, to elude a storm, you can either sail into it or around it, but you must never await its coming. And that is absolutely what Viserys is doing. He is waiting
exactly what he's doing.
For the fight to show up at his doorstep instead of being proactive and making choices to set him up. But
agree.
We gonna see.
Totally agree. We're gonna see. I mean, at least after that, Viserys finally, like, is open, I guess, to, like, trying to actually proactively make up with Rhaenyra, because they haven't really been talking since Rhaenyra's mom died or Viserys' wife died. So we see them actually talking about their grief and how much they miss her, and, like, they bond a little bit over that, which was super cool. And then Rhaenyra also just kind of calls it out specifically, and she's like, I know you need to get married. Like, let's just, like, get it over with, basically.
Yeah.
So she kind of gives him his blessing to remarry.
She knows what's up.
Yeah. The other thing we see is that Viserys, remember when he cut his finger last episode on the chair?
You called it. You called it.
And I think they're setting up that he's either going to get, like, severely wounded at some point, and he's just not going to be able to heal from it, or something. Like, I think it's going to be something like that like leads. He's going to die eventually, right? I think it's something like that that's going to lead to his death, like his inability to heal, and I think that's why they're setting that up. So
that might be part of it. Also, there's, like, lore, well, not lore, but more like superstition, that if you are being continuously cut by the Iron Throne, it's like the throne is rejecting you, which influences the reason why Otto is like, nobody can know about this. Because imagine if this is a big superstition in the world, imagine finding out about this and then learning that you're getting cut and you're not healing. So it's just like double the problems. So I'm just like, ooh, okay, cool. So we'll see where that goes from there. All right. So King Viserys takes a walk with Lena Valerian, and they get to know each other. Because, if you're about to start courting, you gotta take that walk through the garden and get to know each other. And so she's like, basically, and it's another example of how women or girls are used as pawns by men in this world, right? But it's very clear that Lena understands, like, this is my duty. I'm here to serve the realm. I know what I'm meant to do. I know that we're going to have children. And, like, she even says to him, like, I know I don't have to lay with you until I'm 14. And I was just like, wow. And you can see Viserys is uncomfortable. You can see he's not really feeling it.
He raised the little girl. Like, he knows. He raised her. So.
And I was like, I was also like shocked because when you look at her, I definitely thought she was like 9 or 10 or something. So even when they were
She
like
does
she's
look a lot
12,
younger.
yeah, I was like, she don't look 12, but you know, um, and then again we've got Rhaenys watching, right? Not only Rhaenys but also Rhaenyra are both watching from up high. Like Rhaenyra's like, look at this bullish. Like I can't believe this. Um, but it's amazing to me that even at the tender age of 12, she understands this is my
I
purpose.
mean,
This is my duty.
yeah, I mean, they definitely had to explain it to her, right? I'm sure they had
Mm-hmm.
to sit her down and be like, this is what this means.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I mean, at least at least we think she understands as much as a 12-year-old is going to understand, right?
Right. Ooh, yikes. So like I said, Rhaenyra and Rhaenys are watching this all play out, right? They're standing on a balcony. And so at this point in time, they get into a jest of words, right? Rhaenys reminds Rhaenyra how this world works, what the order is, that women are overlooked when it comes to seats of power, and that they must contribute in other ways, such as joining houses together through marriage and bearing children. And Rhaenyra states that when she's queen, things are gonna be different, right? She's gonna be the change, apparently.
Who did she sound like when she said that?
She definitely sounds like Miss Daenerys, right? She sounds like Dany, right? She's like, when I'm queen, I'll create a new order, which sounds very much like, oh, I'm gonna be
break
the one
the
who
wheel.
breaks the wheel, and it's like,
Yep.
Okay, yeah, sure. But Rhaenys is out here to give Lil Cuz a reality check, right? Like, listen, your daddy's gonna remarry. He's gonna have more kids. It's gonna be likely that there's gonna be a son. And just know that when this son comes along, I know he told you he's not gonna push you to the side, but just know when this son comes along, he's gonna push you to the side. And the realm would rather set itself ablaze than see a woman rise to be queen. So do you think Rhaenys is in the right? Do you think she giving sound advice? That she keeping it real?
I think she's giving sound advice, but the way she's doing it, she sounds like a hater. I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna call it spade. She sounds a little bit like a hater. Like she's mad that like.
She's like, I got overlooked. You gonna get overlooked too. Watch.
Yeah, I mean, but so I can understand how someone would be like, oh, she's just mad because she's the queen that never was, which was really messed up for Rhaenyra to say to her face like that. In my opinion,
that was tough.
But I think she's right. I think she has the lay of the land. I mean, she's still kicking. She's still part of one of the most influential families in the realm. So she knows what she's doing. She's still around. Like, she didn't let any of that get to her. So I think she's right, but I also think she sounds like a hater. I don't know. She didn't come off very motherly to me. Like very like mentor-y. Like she could have said, "Look, I've been in your shoes. This is what happened to me. Let me help you to make sure it does what happened to me doesn't happen to you." Like she could have even said it that way. Even if she knew deep down it was never going to happen. Yeah. She just didn't do that.
She trying to bring the crown home in any way possible.
Listen, she want her baby on the throne.
She sure do. All right, so what happens next, T?
So now we get into like where a lot of the action, the build up to potential action happens in the episode. So remember how we said Daemon was on Dragonstone just chilling? Not only is he camped out there with his gold cloaks, right, his own little army, he brought Massaria, his girl that he was begging in the brothel. And he snuck into his whore. Yeah. He snuck into King's Landing and stole a dragon egg, but not just any dragon egg. He stole the egg that Rhaenyra chose to be for her brother that died when her mother died. So Daemon he's something else. He's a piece of work, okay? Because we also find out, am I jumping ahead? But we also find out that this girl, Damon's not even engaged to her. she's not even pregnant. He lied. He made up all that stuff just so that he can steal an egg or justify stealing an egg just so that he can get some attention from his brother. But anyways, that's what happened. He stole it. And so when Rhaenyra finds out it was that egg, now she's taking it personal. She's just like, no way. And then also, Viserys also got hot when they found out which egg it was, right? He was just like, oh, no. Yeah. Now I'm going over there. Otto convinces Viserys not to go because it would be stupid for the king to walk into a situation like that. Otto goes. It's not going well. Daemon's about to roast his behind. And then Rhaenyra shows up with her dragon, and she's basically calling her uncle's bluff, right? She rolls up, and she's just like, you want to give me you're going to have to kill me if you want the throne. Is that what you're going to do? Let's do it right now.
Right. In front of everybody.
In front of everybody. Rolled up with her dragon.
Karaki's in the background.
Correct. You got two dragons about to square up. And then when she basically was just like, you feeling froggy, and let's jump. Let's just get this over with. He basically doesn't do anything. Gives her the egg back.
Right.
And leaves.
He tossed it at her, though. He did the no look. Like, throw back.
I mean, yeah. Just toss like, he didn't care that if it would, like, drop and break or whatever. But, come on.
Right.
How did you feel about that?
And you can tell everything that Daemon was doing was for attention. The fact that Mysaria is not even pregnant, the fact that when Otto and his troops land there and the Kingsguard land there, he's like, where's the king? That's his first question. He don't care about everybody else who's there. He said, where's the king? Why is my brother not here to come check me? And it's like, dang, you really need that much attention? Like, he's like a toddler stirring trouble just to get some attention from dear old dad. And it's like, chill out, bro. Because he's been on Dragonstone for 6 months, and Viserys has not checked him on it. Viserys has not gone over there. He has not sent anybody. He just, like, let him chill out. Planned ignoring is what he's doing. And my boy is like, oh, you gonna ignore me? Watch. Let me sneak up in there. Which also shows us that Daemon knows how to get around the city. Because he's supposed to be one of the most famous people. So all those little secret passages and all that stuff, trap doorways and everything like that, clearly he definitely knows what he's doing and where he's going, which I think is going to come back around in the future. I don't know if he's going to sneak in and kill someone, but it very much shows us that.
I definitely agree. What stands out to me about this also is, like, throughout the episode, Corlys is just like, you're not being a good king, basically. And the thing about the thing about Daemon specifically and not checking Daemon is, like, what are you signaling to the realm by allowing your brother to stay on Dragonstone? Above and beyond just, like, he took it and you didn't give it to him, but the realm looks at Dragonstone as the seat of the heir. If you let him stay there, then you're letting the confusion play out with everyone in the realm. Kick him out and let Rhaenyra be there. Like, I don't...
Yeah, when Rhaenyra lands, she's like, this is my castle. And Daemon's like, well, not till you come of age. Or whatever. She's like, I'm the heir. It's mine. Like, get the hell up out of here. And again, here is Rhaenyra coming through, showing strength and not being afraid to show strength. What makes us different? Dragons. You know, so again, give her the crown, yo. Give her the crown. Let it be. Just give her the crown. The other part of this sequence that really got to me too is when Mysaria and Daemon finally get a private moment, and she's like, "You told them I was pregnant. You told them we was getting married. So you just put me in the line of fire. Absolutely not." She's like, I didn't come here for none of that. I'm not having no children. I'm not doing none of this stuff with you. I came here for liberation and freedom. That's what I wanted. And that's what you promised me. You are not delivering your promise. So it's very interesting that she's laying all her cards on the table. Like, I'm not here for love. I'm not here for none of that. Like, I'm here to get out. I want out the light.
Yeah.
She don't want to go back to the strip club.
It's also interesting that Daemon is using her instead of just using his wife. Why not just say my wife is pregnant and we want a dragon egg? Like, why not get your wife in on it? Why use this like random? You know, it's like there isn't much. There's like a little bit of strategy, but he's not really thinking his plans through.
He's not thinking his plans through. But also, here's the thing. So, dang, casual girl privilege invoked. So if I mess up the story just a little bit, please forgive me, y'all. All in all, basically, like Damon taking on another wife, was like again another jab to like piss off Viserys. Basically, is what it was.
I think that makes sense.
He was
Definitely.
doing everything. He was doing everything to poke the bear. And so after this scene, as a shock to the council, but maybe not so much to the audience, Viserys declares that he will marry Alicent Hightower, daughter of Otto Hightower. Rhaenyra's like, look, you can marry a 12-year-old, you can marry our cousin, you can marry whoever, but my bestie, off limits. Uncool, Dad. You can't do this. Why would you do this? Right? She's pissed. She's pissed,
angry.
and the rest of the council looks confused because he goes around trying to check everybody's temperature, and it's like, hey, Corlys proposed marriage to his daughter. What do you think? Blah blah. And everybody's like, yo, it makes sense. Do it. And then he changes his. Well, I don't know if you say changes his mind, but when he makes up his mind, he chooses Alicent over Lena, which pisses off Corlys because once again, his family has been passed over for the crown, and he's like, this don't make no damn sense. So, how did you feel the moment when he declared that it's Alicent?
I was just worried about Rhaenyra the entire. Like, I saw it coming. I knew with the way they paused, with the way they shot it, that he was not going to say Lena. I was shocked to see that Alicent was also shocked. I thought maybe he would have mentioned it to her beforehand. But I mean, women in Westeros, like, they don't get a say, so whatever.
Right.
But honestly, I was the most worried about Rhaenyra. I was just like, how is she going to take this? And she took it how I thought. She was like, she's pissed and she walked out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would have walked out too. I'd have been like, best friend? That is so weird. That's too much. And I'm not like, he really could have gave Rhaenyra the heads up. He could have been like,
he should have. He definitely should have.
It's going to be your friend. Definitely could have done that.
So what does this spark Corlys to do?
So Corlys meets with Daemon, and they decide to join forces to handle trouble in the Stepstones with the crab feeder. And your enemy, like, let's join up. And so they join.
My enemy
is my friend. So yes, that's what I was trying to look for. My brain stopped short, and I was like, we didn't get to the station. We did not get to the station. I'm sorry, y'all. But yes, that's why I got T here. She knows how to pull it on in. Yes, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So he gives Daemon this whole speech about how he's a second son and how Corlys feels like he's a second son in the eyes of the realm because he had to build his house by himself, and he had to fight for everything he had to get. It was not handed to him. Second sons stand to inherit nothing. They have to carve their way out, in this world. And so he not pleads with him, but states his case. And then he's like, you might have a point. And Corlys is like, this is your way to show strength, right? Like, this is how you can show the realm, like, I'm a force to be reckoned with, and I should be heir. And Daemon looks like he's buying into it. How did you feel about those last moments in the episode?
It looked like he was kind of buying into it, but it also looked like he just didn't know what to do. I'm not completely sold that, like, he was sold in the moment. Like I said, his strategy lacks depth. And so this feels like the perfect superficial thing for him to do. But I was just really hoping that he just, after what happened with Rhaenyra and Otto and everyone, that he would take a beat and be like, wait, what am I actually trying to accomplish here? And what is my best way to do that? I don't think Daemon is at that level of prowess and planning yet, but that's what I want from him already. I don't even know him, and I'm like, no, I want you to be better at this.
Do better.
Do better.
Hit the books, study up, get a strategy,
Right.
and do better.
Right. Do a little better. So
We're gonna see. And we'll talk more about them when we talk about what's to come in the future episodes. So we'll circle back to them. But that's the way our episode ends off, y'all. And that's how it went down for episode 2, season 1.
So did you like the episode?
I did. I enjoyed it. I think it kind of falls in line with episode 1 in terms of planting seeds for everything that's to come. It definitely sets up what Rhaenyra is willing to do and what she's able to accomplish if she really like just follows her gut and goes with it. Now we are going to see the union of Alicent and Viserys, and we know it's going to bear children. We know that's coming. So setting all that up, setting the tension up between Corlys and the rest of the council. I'm very curious to see if he actually even, because if him and Daemon join forces, right? Are you just going to come back to the council, or are you like leaving the council? Like, what does this mean? Point. How is this going to play out going forward? So there's a lot that it's setting up, and I'm excited to see. I thought the dragons looked great. That bridge scene was what I loved. That bridge scene, like the way they was just talking mess to each other, and then how Rhaenyra pops up and she's like, "Y'all could try and stop me, but my dragon gets kind of protective, so y'all might want to keep your hands to yourselves." You know, I think that to me was a great scene. It had a lot to offer. What about you? Did you enjoy it?
I did, for all the reasons you said, and I think specifically, again, I hope this pays off. I feel like they're setting up for like a more action-packed episode coming up. And so for that, I do like the episode, if it actually sets that up. So I don't want to repeat everything you said, but I agree with everything that you said. Yeah. And I like it because I feel like it's setting us up for something cool.
Yeah. With all that being said, who was the MVP of the episode for you?
I mean, hands down, Otto won on all accounts.
Yeah,
all accounts.
Yeah, like I'm not even gonna combat that. Yeah,
Otto won, but just to lay it out real quick, like he got his daughter to be the next queen. He didn't die by the hands of Daemon. He was able to show his king that he was loyal and willing to sacrifice his life without actually dying, which he would have if Rhaenyra didn't show up. He's kind of shown himself a little bit to be like a little trustworthy and like helping prepare Rhaenyra, like when she was like, you know, she didn't know what to say to the people auditioning to be part of the Kingsguard. He was like, oh, you know, you got to thank them. Like he was still like coaching her in a little bit of way, even though he was also the one that was just like, get Rhaenyra out of here because she don't know, she's in grown folks' business. She don't need to be here.
He really is.
All in all, Otto's been getting almost exactly what he wants, and he's the only person right now in our story that's happening to. So he has to be the winner.
For sure. And then to remind you guys, Otto is a second son. So he doesn't have much to inherit. He has to go out and get everything. So him becoming Hand of the King and now securing this marriage with Alicent is going to shoot his house to the top, right? So he's definitely coming out on top. And he did it in such a slick way that wasn't like, that obvious. Did not come off to, that was not obvious, didn't come off to menacing or conniving or anything like that. And, you know, Alicent played her part very well. She did what needed to be done.
She did.
And now they're moving on up. So
they're moving on up.
MVP.
Speaking of which, we actually see clips of the next episode, and in the next episode, we see that there's another time jump because King Viserys and Alicent has had a sweet little baby boy, little toddler son named Aegon. They actually we hear people say that he's going to be heir to the throne. I don't remember exactly who said it, but the conversation is obviously out there. And then we see that Corlys and Daemon are at war with the Crab Feeder. So lots of action, I'm assuming, next episode with the Crab Feeder stuff. way more politics. I'm super interested to understand how Rhaenyra is feeling about this. Her best friend had a baby with her dad.
Phew. Crazy. I'm ready to see Caraxes in action because we do get a glimpse of him flying down and raining fire on everybody. So I'm very happy to see a dragon in action. Like you said, Alice, obviously, Alice and Rhaenyra's relationship is going to be troubled, and this causes a rift. So I want to see them explore that. I want to see what kind of conversations they're having. I want to see if Rhaenyra is still talking to her daddy. Did she move out? Like, what happened? Like,
is she on Dragonstone?
Is she staying on another side of the Red Keep? Like, what's going on here? So,
that's funny.
Are you into the fact that it seemed, I don't know if we're going to be time jumping for every episode, but are you into the way that we are time jumping? Like, how does that impact your viewing experience?
I am, because it's better than spending like 17 seasons in Marine. You know, like,
oh, don't bring back Marine, girl. Ooh,
like,
we was in Marine too long.
We were in there too long. This feels a lot better, and it shows us that they're being very deliberate about what they're showing us. So I appreciate that. So I don't mind it at all.
They're being very intentional, and I appreciate that they're laying the groundwork well enough that we understand what's coming. And we understand everyone's motivations. We understand their personalities and everything like that. So they're doing a great job of it so far. And I'm curious to see where they're going to stop to finally settle in order to be like, okay, now from here on out, we're not doing another 6 months, 2 years, whatever. We're just going to live in this moment, so to speak.
Yeah, I think there are people casted to be grown up Alicent and Rhaenyra. So we're going to get to them at some point this season, and then from then on it'll probably be like, well, this is where we're at. So maybe the next 2 episodes, maybe that'd be like halfway through the first season. We'll see, I guess.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be halfway mark too. I think that's what it's going to be. Any final thoughts about the episode?
Just glad to be back. I'm excited to see what happens next.
Yes, absolutely. I will say too, it's, the feeling is back, because I walked into the break room and people were talking about the show, and I was just like, we back, baby! We back! So I'm excited. I'm seeing so many memes and stuff now. I'm loving it. I'm here for it.
I like it.
All right. Thanks, guys, for joining us today. Please stay tuned, because we're going to be doing each episode every week. Like, subscribe, follow, do all the things. We are on social media at Casual Fangirls _ on IG, YouTube, we're Casual Fangirls. So check in with us, send, comments, all that good stuff. We're here to talk about all the things. So as always, I am Nessa.
And I'm T.
And together we are the Casual Fangirls. See you next time.